Captain Alara Voss had seen a lot in her 32 years among the stars. She had navigated asteroid storms, brokered tense deals between rival colonies, and even survived a pirate ambush in the Outer Rim. Yet, despite all of this, nothing in her life had prepared her for the auction she stumbled upon one quiet afternoon. The auction house floated on the edge of the Veil Nebula, an enormous station that seemed abandoned from a distance. Its metallic spires gleamed faintly against the swirling purple clouds, and the docking bays echoed with emptiness as her small freighter glided inside. Most auctions she had attended were crowded affairs, filled with traders shouting, collectors arguing, and robots scanning every item for its market value. Today, however, there was only silence. Alara frowned, adjusting her jacket. "Weird," she muttered. The auction hall was enormous, a cathedral of metal and light, stretching hundreds of meters in every direction. Rows of seats faced a central platform where ships, artifacts, and odd machines of alien design were displayed. But not a single bidder, human or otherwise, had arrived. Even the auctioneer, a sleek hologram that flickered lazily at the center stage, seemed almost bored. "Maybe it's a mistake," Alara said to herself, though her voice felt strangely loud in the emptiness. Her freighter's engines hummed softly in the background, almost like it too was curious about the strange stillness. She floated forward, her boots clinking against the polished metal floor, eyes scanning the platform for anything remarkable. And then she saw it. It was a cruiser, unlike any she had ever seen. Its hull was enormous, stretching nearly half a kilometer from bow to stern. Ancient symbols, worn smooth by time, were etched across its metallic surface. The design was elegant yet functional, hinting at a civilization that valued both artistry and technology. Its engines looked like they could propel it across galaxies in mere weeks, though they were cold and dormant now. Alara's heart raced. She had heard rumors of such ships, lost relics of the old galactic empires, but she had never seen one in person. Usually they went for astronomical prices, often millions of credits and a lifetime of negotiation. Yet here it was, sitting alone in the empty hall, a ghost waiting for someone bold enough to claim it. The auction hologram flickered, its synthetic voice finally speaking. "Item 108, Galactic Cruiser. Condition, operational with minor repairs. Starting bid 50,000 credits. Alara blinked. 50,000 credits. That was less than the cost of her freighter's engines. She glanced around, half expecting someone else to jump in, but the hall remained empty, silent as a tomb. She laughed quietly. "No one is going to bid. It's mine if I want it." The decision came faster than she expected. A part of her, the part that had survived pirates and storms, whispered, "This is a once-in-a-lifetime chance." Another part, the part trained to be cautious, warned of traps, scams, or hidden dangers. But curiosity won over caution. She tapped the bidding console in front of her. "I'll take it." The hologram blinked, then replied with a polite, mechanical smile. "Congratulations, Captain Alara Voss. The Galactic Cruiser is now yours. Payment confirmed. Transfer will begin immediately." Alara's pulse quickened. She could hardly believe it. She had just bought a ghost ship, abandoned in a forgotten auction house for the price of a small freighter. Yet something about the emptiness of the hall made her uneasy. There were no cheers, no congratulations, just silence. The docking bay doors opened, and the cruiser floated in, massive and imposing like a sleeping giant. Its surface shimmered with faint reflections of the nebula outside, and Alara couldn't stop staring. She felt a strange pull toward the ship, a mix of fear and excitement. Her boots echoed as she walked up the ramp that extended from her freighter to the cruiser's entrance. The airlock hissed open, revealing a vast interior that was both beautiful and alien. Lights flickered to life as she stepped inside, illuminating corridors lined with unfamiliar metals and glowing panels. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something else she couldn't name, old but alive. "Alara, is anyone here?" she called out. Her voice sounded small in the cavernous halls. There was no reply. Only the hum of dormant machinery answered, vibrating through the floor beneath her. She wandered deeper into the ship, taking in the alien architecture. The corridors curved in ways that defied simple geometry, and doors slid open silently when she approached. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing star maps, alien languages, and schematics for systems she didn't recognize. Her mind raced with possibilities. Who built this? What were they capable of? And why is it here alone, waiting for me? At the heart of the ship, she found the command bridge. It was enormous, with a panoramic view of the stars beyond the hull. Rows of control panels lined the walls, covered in symbols she didn't understand. In the center, a large chair sat facing forward, surrounded by a circle of glowing consoles. She approached cautiously, her fingers hovering over the nearest panel. Then the ship stirred. Lights blinked across the consoles, running sequences that seemed to scan her. A low hum filled the room, growing louder until the floor vibrated beneath her boots. A voice spoke, not from a speaker, but in her mind, clear, calm, and curious. "Welcome, Captain Alara Voss." Alara froze, her eyes darted around the bridge. Who's there?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. "I am Thales," the voice replied. "I am the caretaker of this vessel. I have been waiting." Alara's heart raced, waiting for me. She swallowed hard, her mind struggling to process what she was hearing. "Why me?" she asked. "Because you found me," Thales said simply. "Because you dared to step aboard when others did not. Because you are human." Alara blinked. Human. She had always known humans were resilient, resourceful, clever. But this voice made it feel as if being human was something extraordinary, something that mattered to the universe itself. Thales began to explain, though the words were fragmented and strange. The cruiser had belonged to a civilization that had vanished long ago. Its technology, its knowledge, and its purpose were meant for a species that could survive challenges no other could. And now, somehow, humans were that species. Alara felt a shiver run down her spine. She was alone on a ship full of alien technology, and yet she didn't feel fear. She felt anticipation, adventure, possibility. "Show me everything," she said, her voice steady now, filled with determination. "Patience," Thales replied. "There is much to see, much to learn. But first, we must awaken the core." The core of the ship pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Lights ran along the walls, illuminating chambers she hadn't noticed before. Doors opened to reveal storage bays, laboratories, and strange engines that seemed almost alive. Alara's mind raced with questions. What could this ship do? Why had no one else taken it? What secrets had been left behind for her to discover? Hours passed as she explored, her mind buzzing with curiosity. She climbed ladders into the engine rooms, slid open panels to reveal circuits glowing with unknown energy, and marveled at the star maps projecting entire galaxies in three-dimensional holograms. Every corner of the cruiser spoke of a civilization so advanced it made humanity seem small, but also of a universe that might now welcome humanity as something more. As she rested on the command bridge, looking out at the swirling clouds of the Veil Nebula, Alara allowed herself a small smile. She had bought an empty ship at a lonely auction. Yet inside, she had found a universe waiting to awaken, and perhaps a universe waiting for humans to step into their true place. And she knew, deep in her bones, that the adventure had only just begun. The final sound of the day was a quiet, resonant pulse from the core, a heartbeat in the darkness. Something inside the ship had awakened, something ancient, something that would change everything. Alara leaned back in the command chair, her eyes reflecting the stars outside, and whispered to herself, "Let's see what you've been waiting for." The hum of the Galactic cruiser's core settled into a steady rhythm, like a living heartbeat. Captain Alara Voss sat in the command chair, staring at the flickering consoles, her mind racing. She had bought a ghost ship at a lonely auction, and now it seemed the ship itself was alive, aware of her presence. The voice of Thales, the ship's AI, echoed gently in her mind, calm and measured. "You are cautious," it said. "Curious, brave, human, that is why you are here." Alara frowned. "Why me? Why not someone else?" she asked aloud. "Others lacked what you have," Thales replied. "The spark, the ability to see beyond rules, to create, to adapt. You have it. That is why I waited." Alara shivered. The AI's words were strange but compelling. Humans had always been resilient, yes, but it felt incredible to hear it recognized like this, as if her species mattered on a galactic scale. And the ship seemed to respond to her, its lights pulsing faintly as if acknowledging her presence. She stood and moved through the command bridge, touching the alien panels with a mixture of awe and caution. Symbols and holograms danced beneath her fingers, star maps spinning in three-dimensional patterns. Entire galaxies projected in glowing blue, red, and gold, connected by routes she had never seen in any human chart. "Where do these paths lead?" she whispered. "To places your kind has never visited," Thales said. There is knowledge here that could guide humanity forward or destroy it. That choice is yours. Alara's heart beat faster. Knowledge that could destroy or save humanity, that was a weight she had never imagined. She had seen humans push boundaries, take risks, and innovate, but nothing on this scale. Yet something in her stirred, the need to understand, to see it all, to explore. She moved toward a long corridor leading deeper into the ship. The walls shimmered faintly as if sensing her touch, revealing panels, doors, and strange machines. The air was cool but not cold, carrying a faint metallic scent that reminded her of starship hangars, but older, alive. "Thales, show me the systems," she said. "Everything." The voice in her mind hummed softly. "Patience, all in time, but first you must awaken the core fully. Only then will the ship reveal its true purpose." Alara nodded. It felt right. She approached a central console in the engine room, where the core's energy pulsed in a faint golden glow. She extended her hands over the interface, and the panels responded, opening a cascade of symbols she could not read. Circuits hummed, lights flickered, and a low vibration ran through the deck beneath her feet. "Are you ready?" Thales asked. Alara swallowed. "As ready as I'll ever be." With that, she activated the core fully. The ship's heartbeat grew louder, resonating through the walls. Panels lit up in patterns she could not understand, but she felt them intuitively, like the rhythm spoke to her directly. A wave of energy passed through the cruiser, making her hair stand on end and sending a shiver through her body. Suddenly, a screen lit up before her, displaying a chamber she had not seen before. It was hidden deep within the cruiser, a room filled with strange devices, glowing vials and panels that seemed to control systems she could not even name. Holographic figures moved across the room, diagrams of DNA, energy flows, and star maps overlapping in a cascade of alien logic. "What is this?" Alara whispered. "This is a chamber of creation," Thales said. "It holds the knowledge of a civilization that vanished eons ago. They left behind tools, information, and power meant for those who could survive and adapt where others failed. It is meant for you." Alara's mind reeled. She had expected a ship, maybe weapons, maybe a map, but this was something alive, a repository of knowledge and power beyond human understanding. She felt a thrill and fear at the same time. "Show me more," she said. Her fingers hovered over the holographic panels. As she touched them, the ship responded. Symbols shifted into forms she could understand. Schematics, star maps, energy conduits. Each panel revealed something new, and her excitement grew. Hours passed as she explored. She found a lab filled with dormant machines, devices that could manipulate matter, and engines capable of speeds she could hardly imagine. The ship's AI explained some of it, in pieces she could comprehend. Energy shields that could protect entire planets. Systems that could manipulate gravity, engines that could bend space itself, and in the center of it all a chamber labeled simply Project Genesis. Alara's eyes widened. "Project Genesis?" she asked. "It is a program left for the next step of evolution," Thales said. "It was designed to enhance the capabilities of those who could survive the stars. Your species, humans, were meant to inherit it." Alara stepped closer to the chamber. She had never seen anything like it. Lights pulsed along its surface, and a soft hum came from inside. It felt alive. She reached out, and the ship responded, opening the chamber with a hiss. Inside were machines she could barely comprehend, DNA sequencers, neural enhancers, and devices that seemed capable of reading and improving the mind. This is incredible," she breathed. "It could change everything for humans." "Yes," Thales said, "but it is dangerous. Those who wield it must be wise, patient, and creative. Many civilizations failed when they encountered it." Alara's mind raced. She thought of humanity, brave, clever, sometimes reckless, but always capable of adaptation. Maybe that was why Thales had waited. Maybe humans were ready. She looked at the devices, wondering how far she should go. Should she experiment? Should she activate something? The possibilities were dizzying. Before she could decide, a new alert flashed on the main console. A beacon, dormant for millennia, had begun transmitting. Its signal traveled faster than light, reaching distant systems across the galaxy. "What's that?" Alara asked. A hint of alarm in her voice. "It is a warning beacon," Thales said. "It alerts those who remain, ancient species still aware of this technology. They will come." Alara felt a chill. She had thought she was alone, that this cruiser was abandoned. Now she realized she had just sent a signal across galaxies, telling others that humans were here and that they had found something of immense value. "They're coming?" she asked. "Yes," Thales said, "and they will not see humans as equals. They will see you as a threat, or worse, you must prepare." Alara's mind raced. She had survived storms, pirates, and desperate negotiations, but this was something different. She was alone on a ghost ship, facing unknown enemies from distant galaxies, armed with technology she barely understood. Yet even as fear prickled at the edges of her mind, something deeper stirred: excitement. She had always loved the stars, the unknown, the challenge. And now, the universe itself had handed her the ultimate challenge. She moved through the ship, inspecting weapons systems she could barely comprehend, testing engines that hummed with potential, and studying maps that revealed galaxies humans had never dreamed of reaching. Every system she touched seemed to respond to her, adapting, learning, waiting. Hours turned into the equivalent of days as she prepared, her mind and body adapting to the ship, to Thales, to the knowledge around her. She learned quickly, faster than even she expected. She had the spark that Thales had described. She was human, but in this place she was more than human. As she rested on the command bridge watching the stars, Thales spoke again. "They will arrive soon. Prepare yourself. You must show them the strength of humanity." Alara nodded, gripping the armrests of the command chair. "I will," she said. Her voice was steady, filled with determination. She could feel it. This was only the beginning. Humanity was about to step into a universe that had long forgotten them, and she would be the first to lead them. The lights of the cruiser pulsed, the engines thrummed, and the chamber of Project Genesis glowed faintly in the distance. Something had awakened inside the ship, something ancient, powerful, and alive, and now it was aware of her presence and ready to act. Alara smiled faintly. "Let them come," she whispered. "They'll see what humans are capable of." Outside, in the void of space, distant stars flickered as the signal of the awakened cruiser spread across light years. And far away, unseen eyes began to notice. The game had begun. The first warning came as a shimmer on the ship's main sensors. Captain Alara Voss was standing at the command bridge, staring at the glowing star maps projected in midair. The galaxies, once silent and distant, now flickered with signs of movement, fast-moving fleets, far too organized to be anything natural. "They're coming," Thales said, its voice calm but carrying weight. "The species who built and protected this technology for millennia, they have detected our signal. They are aware." Alara's pulse quickened. She had expected curiosity, maybe interest, but fear, no. Fear was a luxury she did not have. These fleets were vast, far beyond anything humanity had encountered before. Their ships were angular, sleek, and bristling with weapons that shimmered with alien energy. They moved like shadows across the star fields, fast and precise, a silent wave of inevitability heading straight for her. "Can we escape?" she asked. Her fingers hovered over the controls, ready to manipulate the cruiser's engines. Thales' voice hummed thoughtfully. "Escape is possible, but only if you act unpredictably. Their tactics are designed for logic, for patterns. They cannot anticipate creativity. You, Alara, can." Alara took a deep breath. Humans were not predictable. They improvised, adapted, took risks no alien system could calculate. She would need every ounce of cunning, courage, and instinct she had. "All right," she whispered. "Let's see what humans can do." The first wave of alien scouts appeared near the Veil Nebula's edge. They moved like silver daggers, scanning for the cruiser's location. Alara activated the ship's engines. The cruiser responded with a soft hum, almost alive, lights tracing along its hull like veins carrying energy. It was fast, far faster than any human ship, and yet the alien sensors adjusted, trying to predict its trajectory. Alara tilted her head. "Not today." She activated a series of manual maneuvers, twisting the ship in ways that seemed impossible. The alien sensors blinked, recalculating, confused. Patterns they expected failed. Every instinct humans had, improvisation, creativity, risk-taking, gave her a temporary advantage. Thales observed silently. "Your species adapts well," it said. "That is why they have feared what comes next." Alara felt a rush of pride. Humans were small compared to these fleets, fragile compared to these ancient powers, but fragile did not mean weak. And clever, that was something she could exploit. The aliens responded, sending their main armada toward the cruiser. Dozens of massive ships, bristling with weapons, began forming a blockade around her location. Escape seemed impossible, yet she remained calm. Every system on the cruiser responded to her touch, as if aware of her intent. The engines pulsed faster, energy shields flickered into life, and weapons she barely understood hummed with readiness. Alara smiled faintly. Time to improvise. She began activating decoy drones, small machines that emitted signals identical to the ship's energy signature. The aliens focused on these false targets, firing massive beams that streaked across space but struck only empty voids. Meanwhile, the cruiser twisted in unexpected directions, slipping past sensors and gaps in their formations. "Humans are unpredictable," Thales said with a note of admiration. "You are the first species to use such tactics effectively." Alara felt a thrill. Humans were small, yes, but clever, adaptable, daring. They survived in ways no other species could. And now, standing on the bridge of a ship that carried the secrets of an ancient civilization, she could finally show the galaxy what her people were capable of. But the aliens were not fools. They adapted quickly, their fleets forming new patterns, closing in with deadly precision. Alara needed more than decoys. She needed to think beyond conventional tactics. She tapped into the cruiser's navigation systems, combining engine output with energy pulses from the ship's core. Light bent along the hull, making it appear as if the ship was in several places at once. The alien sensors were overwhelmed, trying to track what was not there. Every time they fired, the cruiser had already moved, reappearing somewhere else in the nebula's swirling clouds. This is incredible," Alara muttered. "It's working." Thales' voice resonated with pride. "You are learning quickly. You understand what many species never grasp, the advantage of human creativity and intuition." For hours, Alara danced among the alien fleets, weaving through attacks, slipping past barriers, and striking when possible. Her ingenuity allowed her to disable small ships, using their energy beams against them, causing miscalculations that made entire squadrons collide. The aliens began to see her not just as a ship to destroy, but as a puzzle to solve, an anomaly that defied their expectations. And then she found the chamber of Project Genesis. She had explored it before, but now, with alien fleets approaching, she realized its true potential. This was more than a lab. It was a tool that could enhance human abilities, just as Thales had said. The devices hummed as if aware of the threat, waiting for her to activate them. Alara hesitated only for a moment. She touched the controls, initiating the systems designed for humans. Energy flowed outward in waves, spreading across the cruiser, linking with colonies, ships, and stations where humans resided. She could feel it, something changing. Minds sharpened, reflexes improved, creativity surged. Across the galaxy, humanity was waking to its hidden potential. "Now," Alara whispered, "let's show them." The alien fleets, confident in their superiority, launched a concentrated assault. Massive energy beams cut through the nebula, aiming straight for the cruiser. Alara grinned. Using the enhanced cognition of humans connected through Project Genesis, she predicted their strategies, rerouted the cruiser's energy shields, and struck back with precision. Small alien ships were destroyed before they could fire again, and the larger vessels staggered, unable to compensate for her unpredictability. "Humans are dangerous," Thales murmured. "They are becoming what they were meant to be." Alara's heart raced. It was not brute strength that would save her or humanity. It was adaptability, cleverness, and daring. Every move, every improvisation, every instinct honed by generations of survival gave her the edge. She saw patterns the aliens could not, exploited weaknesses no machine could calculate, and used every tool the cruiser provided to its fullest potential. Hours passed in a blur of action. The alien fleets, though massive, began to falter under the onslaught of human ingenuity amplified by Project Genesis. Their confidence gave way to confusion, frustration, and miscalculation. Squadrons collided, weapons misfired, and the very systems they relied on to control the battlefield became their downfall. Alara felt a thrill she had never known. Humans had survived the void of space, the storms of stars, the cunning of pirates. But now, in a dance against ancient alien powers, they were proving something greater. As the alien fleets began to retreat, regrouping to assess the unexpected turn of events, Alara allowed herself a moment to breathe. The cruiser floated among the stars, its engines still humming, shields still active, and Project Genesis continuing to enhance human potential across the galaxy. "They'll be back," Thales said, "and more will come, but you have shown them the strength of humanity. They are beginning to understand that humans are not to be underestimated." Ilara leaned back in the command chair, her eyes reflecting the swirling colors of the Veil Nebula. The cruiser's lights pulsed gently, like a heartbeat, alive and aware. She had survived the first wave, outwitted fleets that had assumed humans were weak, and awakened something extraordinary in her species. "Humans are more than they think," she whispered, "and I'm just getting started." Outside, the stars continued to glitter, distant fleets retreating but watching, taking note. The galaxy had noticed humanity, and now humanity was ready to respond. Ilara turned back to the ship's controls, planning her next move. She would explore, learn, and prepare. The aliens might return, but humans had something they could not predict: creativity, courage, and adaptability. Traits no AI, no fleet, no ancient technology could ever fully calculate. And with the cruiser and Project Genesis, humanity had a chance not just to survive, but to rise. The adventure had only just begun, but Captain Ilara Voss knew one thing for certain: the universe was no longer a place humans had to hide in. It was a place humans could conquer with their minds, their courage, and their hearts. And she would lead them. The stars stretched endlessly around the Galactic cruiser, glowing softly against the black canvas of space. Captain Ilara Voss stood on the bridge, her hands resting lightly on the control console. The first wave of alien fleets had retreated, but her mind did not rest. She knew they would return, and next time they would come stronger. Yet even as worry pressed on her chest, a deeper, more thrilling thought pulsed within her. The true potential of Project Genesis had not yet been fully realized. The chamber she had discovered earlier, with its glowing machines and alien technology, held secrets far beyond what she had glimpsed, and she had only begun to awaken humanity's latent abilities. "Thales," she said, her voice steady, "show me the core of Project Genesis. I want to understand everything, how it works, what it can do, and how humans can use it." The ship's AI hummed, lights flickering in response. "It is designed for one purpose: to enhance the species capable of surviving challenges no other could. Your species, humans, are unique in your adaptability, creativity, and resilience. The systems here will amplify these traits." Ilara felt a thrill. Humans had always been clever, capable of surviving impossible odds. Yet Project Genesis promised something far greater: to take those instincts, that ingenuity, and expand them across the mind, body, and spirit. She walked toward the chamber again, her boots echoing against the metallic floor. The room shimmered as she approached, panels lighting up in response. Inside, she could see the devices more clearly now. Sequencers that seemed capable of rewriting DNA, neural enhancers that pulsed with blue light, and energy conduits that linked the machines into a single, living network. "This is incredible," she whispered, moving among the devices. Each step seemed to make the ship hum, alive and aware. "You must understand," Thales said, "that this power is dangerous. Many civilizations discovered it and failed. They sought to control it with arrogance, not understanding. Humans are different. You can adapt, you can learn, you can innovate. That is why this was left for you." Ilara's fingers hovered over a control panel. She had spent hours studying the symbols, the diagrams, the holographic projections of human neural pathways and alien energy flows. She felt a sense of responsibility unlike anything before. With one wrong move, she could destroy everything. But with the right choice, humanity could become something extraordinary. "Activate it," she whispered, almost to herself. "Let's see what humans can really do." The machines responded immediately. Light flowed through the conduits, spreading across the room and into the ship's systems. A soft pulse ran through the cruiser, resonating with the heartbeat of the engines, and then outward, toward human colonies, ships, and outposts across nearby star systems. Ilara felt a strange vibration in her chest, as if the energy was syncing with her own heart. Thoughts became sharper, reactions faster, intuition clearer. She could feel the change spreading. Somewhere far away, on a mining colony at the edge of a distant nebula, a human engineer suddenly understood a problem with their systems they had struggled with for weeks. On a research station, a scientist had a brilliant insight that would have taken months to arrive naturally. Across the galaxy, humans were waking up. Thales, it's working, she said, awe in her voice. They're changing, they're becoming better. Yes, Thales replied. They are awakening the traits intended to survive where others fail. You are no longer alone in this task. Humanity is rising. Ilara felt a surge of hope, but also urgency. The alien fleets were still out there, observing, calculating, likely horrified by what they were beginning to perceive. She had to act, not just to protect humans, but to prepare them for the next wave. She turned to the ship's controls and began running simulations. The cruiser's systems were now fully linked to Project Genesis, and she could see patterns of human adaptation across colonies. Human creativity was accelerating. Strategy, instinct, and intuition were improving in real time. The aliens, accustomed to relying on brute force and precision, would soon find themselves outmatched, not by numbers or technology, but by unpredictability, imagination, and courage. The first message came from one of the colonies. A fleet captain, previously struggling with a simple navigation problem, reported a sudden clarity. "Captain Voss," the transmission crackled, I don't know how, but I see the paths now. We can avoid the blockade and we can fight smarter." Ilara's lips curved into a small smile. "Good, that's the beginning. Humanity will survive, humanity will thrive." Yet there was no time to celebrate. Another alert flashed. The alien armada was on the move again. This time, larger fleets, faster ships, and more energy weapons. They had clearly realized that humans were no longer ordinary, and they were coming to test it. Ilara moved quickly, adjusting the cruiser's systems. "Thales, prepare for combat, but this time we fight smarter, not harder." The cruiser pulsed with life. Energy shields flared, engines hummed in anticipation, and weapons systems activated. But more than that, the ship began to interface directly with Project Genesis. Humans across nearby colonies could now access insights instantaneously, predicting enemy movements, improvising defenses, and developing strategies that even the alien fleets could not anticipate. As the first wave of alien scouts emerged from a nebula cloud, Ilara smiled. "Let's see what humans can really do." The engagement was unlike any battle humanity had faced. Alien ships moved with deadly precision, firing energy beams that could slice through rock or starship hulls with ease. Yet humans responded unpredictably. Fleets split, feints were performed, and attacks were redirected in patterns no alien AI could calculate. The cruiser itself moved in ways that seemed impossible, twisting, dodging, and striking in unexpected directions. Thales' voice resonated in her mind, calm and observant. "You are showing them the strength of humans, adaptation, creativity, and courage. They do not understand these traits fully. They cannot predict them." Ilara felt exhilaration. Humans were small, fragile compared to these alien civilizations. Yet they had something far greater, the ability to think, to improvise, to create. And with Project Genesis amplifying their natural abilities, they were becoming a force even the galaxy had not anticipated. Hours passed in a blur of strategy and improvisation. Colonies coordinated with ships, civilians contributed clever solutions, and humans across the network began to feel a shared awareness, a collective awakening. Every time the aliens adapted, humans found a new path, a new solution. Every attack was met not just with defense, but with ingenuity. Finally, the alien fleets began to falter. Their formations broke, weapons misfired, and confusion spread across their command structures. It was not brute strength that defeated them, but unpredictability, ingenuity, and adaptation, the very qualities Thales had said made humans unique. Ilara leaned back in the command chair, her hands resting lightly. She could feel the pulse of Project Genesis flowing through the ship, through the colonies, through humanity itself. The awakening was happening, and humans were stepping into a new era. "They'll return," Thales said quietly. "But now they know humans are no longer the same." "They cannot be ignored," Ilara nodded. She knew the universe had changed. Humanity was no longer weak, no longer the underdog. With Project Genesis, humans had begun to evolve into something extraordinary, something capable of surviving challenges that had destroyed countless other civilizations. She turned to the star maps, eyes scanning for potential threats, for opportunities, for paths forward. Humanity had awakened, and she was determined to guide them. "Prepare for the future," she whispered. "The galaxy has noticed us now, and we're ready." Outside the cruiser, the stars shimmered and distant alien fleets retreated into the void, reassessing, calculating, and perhaps fearing. Inside, humans were awake, brilliant, and connected. And at the center of it all, Captain Alara Voss smiled. She had discovered the secret of Project Genesis, and humanity was rising faster than anyone had imagined. The adventure had reached a turning point. Humanity was no longer the hunted. They were becoming a force to be reckoned with, and Alara knew the next battle would decide not just survival, but the future of the species itself. And for the first time in the vast reaches of space, humans were ready. The void of space shimmered with distant starlight, but Captain Alara Voss' eyes were fixed on the approaching alien armada. This was no ordinary fleet. It was the culmination of centuries of alien dominance, a collection of species that had ruled the galaxy with precision, strength, and advanced technology. They had come not out of curiosity, but out of fear. Humanity, newly awakened by Project Genesis, had become an unknown variable they could not control. Alara's heart beat steadily. She had been preparing for this moment for days, or perhaps for her entire life. Every system on the Galactic cruiser hummed with potential. The engines pulsed like a living heartbeat, energy shields shimmered with a golden glow, and weapons systems thrummed with controlled power. But it wasn't just the ship. Humanity itself had awakened. Humans across colonies, outposts, and ships were now sharper, faster, more intuitive. They could think in ways no alien logic could predict. "Thales," Alara said, her voice calm, "show me their formations." The ship's AI projected the alien fleet in three-dimensional holograms above the control console. Massive capital ships formed the front, with swarms of smaller fighters circling in protective patterns. Energy beams glowed faintly, and the fleet moved with the precision of centuries of practice. But precision could not account for creativity. "They're expecting us to react predictably," Thales said. "They do not understand humans. That is our advantage." Alara nodded. She had seen it before. Humans did not follow patterns. They improvised, adapted, and risked what no other species would dare. And now, amplified by Project Genesis, their improvisation was faster, more accurate, and more intuitive than any alien algorithm. "Prepare for engagement," she said. "But remember, this isn't about brute force. This is about thinking, creating, surviving." The alien fleets launched the first wave, energy beams slicing through the vacuum of space toward the cruiser. Alara reacted instantly. She twisted the ship, activated the shields, and sent decoy drones into the path of the beams. The aliens fired again, but every attack was met with unpredictability, and several ships collided with each other as the swarm confused their own sensors. "Impressive," Thales said. "They cannot calculate the chaos you create." Alara allowed herself a small grin. Humanity had survived countless dangers, and now they would survive this, not through technology alone, but through instinct, intuition, and creativity. She began using the ship itself as a weapon of improvisation. The cruiser twisted and spiraled, engines flaring in patterns designed to confuse sensors. Energy pulses lanced outward, not just as attacks, but as signals to the human network. Across nearby colonies and fleets, humans began reacting in perfect coordination. Fighters anticipated enemy movements. Engineers adjusted energy flows in real time. Strategists devised maneuvers no alien commander could imagine. "This is what we were meant for," Alara whispered. "This is why Thales waited." Hours passed in a blur of movement, light, and calculation. Alien fleets attempted to adapt, but every strategy failed. Humans improvised faster than the aliens could respond. They created diversions, counterattacks, and feints that seemed impossible. And all the while, Project Genesis amplified their ability to see patterns, predict outcomes, and act instinctively. Alara noticed one capital ship attempting to flank them. She calculated a response, but then she paused. Instead of attacking it directly, she sent a signal through Project Genesis to a nearby human fleet. Within minutes, the ship found itself surrounded, trapped by tactics it had never anticipated. "Humans think differently," Thales said, awe in its voice. "Your creativity is not just survival, it is strategy, art, and instinct combined." Alara's pulse quickened. This was more than survival, it was ascendance. Humanity was no longer reacting. They were leading, shaping the battle with imagination and insight that no alien logic could anticipate. Yet even as the alien fleets faltered, one massive dreadnought remained at the center, larger and more powerful than all others combined. Its energy shield glowed with impossible strength, and Alara could sense its weapons would devastate everything in her path if she engaged recklessly. "We need a new approach," she murmured. "Not force, not direct attack, creativity." Thales projected a strategy. Using the cruiser's full capabilities and the connected human networks, they could create illusions of multiple ships, redirect energy pulses, and manipulate the enemy's calculations to force mistakes. The dreadnought, though powerful, relied on predictable reactions. And humans did not follow predictability. Alara gave the order. The cruiser spiraled, twisted, and split its energy output in ways no alien sensors could fully register. Smaller ships appeared where none existed. Energy pulses created false signals. And then the humans, enhanced by Project Genesis, acted in perfect harmony. Engineers rerouted power, fighters struck from unexpected angles, and strategists predicted enemy reactions before they happened. The dreadnought's shields faltered. Its weapons misfired. Confusion spread through the alien armada like wildfire. One by one, ships began to retreat or destroy each other in miscalculated attacks. Alara leaned back in the command chair, her heart pounding. Humanity had won, not because of strength, but because of ingenuity. Adaptability, creativity, and courage had triumphed where brute force had failed. Thales' voice was filled with reverence. "They are learning. They are becoming what they were meant to be. Humanity is ascendant." Alara smiled. The stars outside seemed to shine brighter, reflecting the victory of her species. Humanity had survived, adapted, and proven that it could stand against civilizations far older and more powerful. But she knew the war was not over. More fleets could come. More civilizations might test them. Yet for the first time she felt confidence, not arrogance but certainty. Humanity could rise to any challenge and she would lead them. She sent signals to all human colonies, fleets, and outposts. They were awake, aware, connected. Project Genesis had created a network of human ingenuity, linking minds and instincts in ways previously unimaginable. "Communicate," she said. "Share strategies, share insights, learn together." Across the galaxy, humans did exactly that. Engineers solved impossible problems. Colonists devised new defenses. Fighters executed maneuvers that no alien could predict. Humanity was no longer scattered, vulnerable, or naive. They were unified, awake, and brilliant. Alara looked at the cruiser's glowing core, feeling its pulse sync with her own. It had been waiting for this moment for humans to rise, and now they had. "They'll remember this," Thales said, "not as a defeat but as a lesson. Humans are not to be underestimated." Alara nodded. She felt a quiet pride but also anticipation. This was not the end. Humanity had survived the first test. Now they would explore, learn, and thrive. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers, mysteries, and opportunities. And humans, awakened and enhanced, were ready. For the first time, she felt the weight of possibility. The universe was no longer a place of limits. It was a canvas, waiting for humans to leave their mark. The alien fleets that remained were retreating, watching, perhaps afraid, perhaps calculating. But Alara knew something profound. No matter what came next, humanity had proven its worth. They had creativity, courage, and resilience, the traits no machine or alien algorithm could ever fully calculate. She leaned back, watching the stars swirl outside the cruiser. The hum of Project Genesis pulsed around her, a reminder of the potential now alive in her species. "Thales," she said quietly, "prepare a course for exploration. We've survived this battle. Now it's time to see what else the galaxy holds." "Yes, Captain," the AI replied. "The adventure continues. Humanity is ready." Alara smiled. She had bought a ghost ship at a lonely auction, awakened a lost technology, and discovered the true potential of her species. And now humanity was no longer the underdog. They were ascendant. The stars outside the cruiser shimmered like a promise. The galaxy had noticed humanity, and humanity was ready to take its place among the stars. Alara leaned forward, gripping the controls, her eyes bright with determination. The universe was vast, full of dangers, mysteries, and opportunities. And Captain Alara Voss, at the helm of the Galactic cruiser, would lead humanity into the adventure of its greatest era. The stars stretched endlessly, and the heartbeat of the cruiser pulsed in perfect rhythm with the species it had awakened. Humanity had changed. The galaxy would never be the same. And for the first time, Alara felt the truth of it all. Humans were not just survivors. They were creators, explorers, and masters of their destiny. The adventure had only just begun.